Hello and welcome back to the Invest podcast. We're your hosts, Jack and Isaac. This is the podcast where we talk about everything investing in yourself, others in your community to improve your life and just be a better, healthier, happier person, mate. So, how does that sound?
Mate, that is the greatest introduction we could have possibly done. It's all about positivity here, and we want to invest in positivity. So it's an exciting new week, Jack. I think people are hitting, we're 22nd of the 2nd, 2022, the trifecta of twos.
And it's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. Wow. I didn't even realize that. It's exciting time, but we're hitting February, Jack. And I think when we started this podcast, we were doing, we had the new year on our side. And now I think people are into the routine of perhaps if you're in high school or if you're at work, and if you're at uni, maybe you're just starting. And I think it's a really interesting time where people are just starting to get into the year. We start to really sink our teeth in. So I think, it's a good day, and I'm excited for today. So Jack, give me the overview of what we're running through.
Yeah, absolutely. So as usual, as you guys may be familiar with, and for those that are not, essentially we do this podcast once a week, and Isaac and I will share something that we've either done or tried or learnt about during that week. And that way you guys can learn some stuff alongside us and we can test things out and see how we go. Once we get past that bit, we'll just briefly discuss the theme for each week or a topic. This week, we're going to do empathy. It was a suggestion from a listener. So thank you for suggesting that. And yes, we're going to discuss all things empathy for a while. And that will be it, mate. That will be it. So I want you to start us off, man. I want to hear what you've done or learned this week.
Mine is different. And when thinking of what I've done this week, it came to mind. So for the people that can physically see me, I'll hold up what my thing of the week is. And that is, trying to put it in camera is always a challenge. But anyway, putting it in front of my face. It is skincare, finding a good skincare routine. And in the week, I did some research and I thought, what's going to work for me and what can I sustain? Because I don't want to find something that I just try for a couple of days and it doesn't, and I'm like, nah, it's out. I'm going to look at some dermatological advice. I don't have a lot of experience in this area, but basically there's some core things you should have. And, whether that's a cleanser, toner, a retinol, a moisturizing cream, a day-night combination. I think there's recommendations based on whether perhaps people can do their own research out there, but I did a little bit and I found a routine that I think works for me and my skin type and things like that. And I went out and I invested my hard-earned money into a skincare routine. And it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't like overly expensive. I found something that was kind of in my budget and I went for it. And I've sustained it over the past week. And I think, I don't know, my skin feels all right, feels good.
You're glowing, mate. It's fantastic. Either that or your lighting is on point. That's excellent, mate. That's I completely agree with that. And you mentioned a lot of things like toners and moisturizers and stuff. Also, even an SPF, some sun protection would be great.
I do have I do have that as well.
Good, you're already ahead of it.
It's a staple. Always a staple. Sure. But this was more like around the shower time things that I could add in. So spot on.
Let's hear it.
Jack, men's skincare. I think guys typically sort of cringe up and they're like, oh, just use soap, right? But it is important. Do you have a skin routine yourself, and have you ever looked into it?
Yes, absolutely. I've actually suffered from a lot of acne in the past, so I've had to go see GPs who didn't really know what they were talking about. Unfortunately, went saw dermatologists, and they had some more information, and they recommended straight away. They recommended Accutane right off the bat, which is fine, and that will work for a lot of people, and that's great. However, what I ended up doing was actually looking at the diet, looking at the input, and looking at the skincare and the topical things that you can do. And that did help me. And it's not perfect, but it is a work in progress. So yes, do have one. And essentially just a very sensitive cleanser and moisturizer and SPF. And I'll do that every morning and night. Obviously, you're not doing the SPF at night. And obviously you may want to use a slightly lighter moisturizer in the morning. But that's essentially what I'll do. CeraVe is the one for me almost entirely. But I want to hear yours because obviously this is something that has worked well for you this week and hopefully in the future. So, mate, what have you decided?
A few medical facts because I love that. The integumentary system or the skin is the biggest organ in the body. So we've got to treat it with respect, right?
Classic trivia question, guys. Classic
Yeah.
trivia question.
Classic. So, you wouldn't treat your, perhaps your eyes with that disrespect, or you wouldn't, treat your internal organs with disrespect. So your skin has a lot of, a lot of functions, whether it's barrier to the outside surrounding, protecting from the sun, whatever. So what did I go with? Yes, I went with a CeraVe moisturizing lotion and a
Join the
foaming
club,
cleanser.
mate.
Yeah, it's worked well. And then a Cetaphil, yep, daily exfoliator, as well as you said, Jack, SPF cover. And I used a 50 plus Ultra Sheer, which is in my room. So
Is it broad spectrum is my question.
it is broad spectrum. I needed it because I do go out in the sun quite a lot. And I'm of perhaps a darker skin tone, or I got some melanin in me. So I do need the sun. So it's something I actively try and do. I don't want to be vitamin D deficient, but yeah. But what I would definitely say on that is, seek out advice. Jack said, he's been to a dermatologist, GP. You can get medical advice, but if you're just someone that just wants a good routine, I mean, there's a lot of information out there, but get it from sources that are reliable. That perhaps maybe they can be peer reviewed, or they can be dermatologically endorsed by a foundation or a group of people.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I feel like there's a lot of articles online that will do the at-home remedies where you mix up your own bicarb soda and rub on your face or whatever it may be, and that may not be the best thing. So absolutely go and find out some more information about that. And the sun, I know you're a tall, dark, and handsome man. Going out getting to the sun, of course, is great. And yeah, the diet is a massive role. Plays a massive role in terms of skin.
Yeah.
But moving on from that, I'll briefly mention my thing of the week. Another quick one. Now, it may sound strange, but mine this week has been, I've been taking slightly colder showers. Okay, I know it's different because normally you'll just hear, oh, yep, I've done cold showers for 30 days. I wake up at 4 a.m. and I grind. And, it is a cliche, the cold shower thing, and there are benefits to cold showers. But I feel like that is a bit much for most people. Jumping in ice cold, it can be a bit too much, or people just won't even bother. I find just making it a bit of an in-between temperature does work oftentimes. And that's because I find the really warm and hot temperatures, especially when I shower during the day, which I'll do every day, kind of tires me out, kind of drains me. Also, when it's warm outside, I don't want to be overheating. So I find just doing a kind of slightly colder shower works. And the reason why I started to do that was because when I was staying at the beach and it was super hot, I'd obviously do a cool shower. I wouldn't do a hot shower. And I just love that feeling of the cooler water over the warm water. So I thought, why not just do that? Just normally my day-to-day life. So that has helped me, and that's helped me feel more alert and awake, because I'll shower every single day during the day. And I find that the cooler temperature doesn't tire me out as much as the warmer. So for those who've always wanted to try cold showers, give like a cool shower a go and see how you feel, and it might leave you feeling refreshed.
Yeah, I think that follows on nicely. We've gone from shower and skin to like shower itself, but the health benefits of cold showers are widely recognized in certain regards, especially with alertness. And when you're in the cold shower, you're activating your sort of sympathetic nervous system. You're getting really jolted, and then you've got to stay calm into that. There's some benefits spoken to that. And I think there's a guy called Wim Hof, Wimhoff. He's big purporting, he's a big supporter of the cold immersion and cold shower. But is that something that you thought in mind, Jack? Was it more, I want the health benefits of the cold shower, or was it literally just a feeling of, I want to try something different to a routine I always have?
Well, I definitely have the key benefit in mind being more alert, because I definitely found, a warm shower in the middle of the day kind of made me feel a little bit more tired, which is okay. But, middle of the day, I've got things to do. Don't want to get that feeling. And as I mentioned, I had the cool shower during the summer season, and I love that. And I thought, as long as it's not freezing outside, I don't mind a little cool shower. So yeah, that way I can leave that for the day. And then if I've one at night, nice and warm, and then that will kind of relax you, bring your heart rate down, and get you ready for the wind down. So random. So I thought, give that a go. And yeah, it's been all right so far.
Yeah. I'll make a correction. It's Hoff with one F, not two Fs. But that you're spot on, Jack. It's very interesting that when we do these routine practices, right, they are only a small part of our day, right? A shower is only a small portion, but those small parts form a completeness of our day, these routines or these things we do. And it's interesting when you change something that you're so used to, a little bit what impact you can have. And it's about finding, as a kind of touched on with my skincare routine, you've got to find something that works for you, but don't be afraid to slightly alter it if new information or new stimuli comes. So, but anyway, Jack, what is our topic, our big topic for the day?
Our big topic is on empathy. I feel like we haven't done anything to emotionally related in a little bit. I really liked one of my favorite podcasts was our second one, which was on relationships. And as I mentioned at the start, a listener did suggest it. So if anyone listening who wants us to discuss any topic, feel free to drop that in or discuss with us. So yeah, empathy, thought that'd be a nice one to discuss because it's such an emotional thing, obviously, and it's a lot about putting yourself in someone else's shoes and really tapping into that emotional intelligence, which we know is so needed in our lives today. It'd be interesting to talk about. So if it's cool with you, Isaac, I want you to start the discussion because I know, like me, you're a very pragmatic person. I know you, as you even mentioned a couple of times already today, you brought up a lot of scientific information. And I know this has scientific grounds in psychology, but at the end of the day, it is an emotional thing. So when you hear empathy, what do you think? What do you think about straight away, right off the bat?
Sounds weird, but I think of the Greek derivative of the word. So
no, I tried to get your feeling, and you're thinking still.
But I'll bring it back to feeling. M is in, and pathy comes from the word pathos, which is feeling. So it's the inner feeling, like that feeling within. And when you say that word, I think of the care for others, empathy towards others, the feeling towards others, taking a sort of a walk in someone else's shoes and understanding what they're going through. And I think, Jack, I love this topic. It's so important, and it does feed into relationships well. But really, I think right now with where the world is and what's going on, empathy is so important to sort of feel that, okay, people are making decisions based on their circumstance, and I need to be empathetic towards that and understand that. But also, by the same token, maybe it's empathy in what we do day to day, whether it's at work, someone does something wrong to us or says something that perhaps is, not in a kind manner. We need to have empathy as well, even in those circumstances. So that's what comes to mind. And then also a big part of what we always say, Jack, is invest in your community. And I think empathy to those in your community that are doing it tough, people that are marginalized, things like along that vein, we need to have empathy towards them as well. So that's what I think of. But what about you, Jack? How do you sort of apply empathy in your day-to-day life, and what comes to mind when you hear someone talking about empathy?
No, good question. I'll get to the practical aspect in a second, because firstly, which is what do I think of when I hear empathy? It's just kind of bearing someone else's feelings in mind, or not even in your mind, but in your heart as well. If you can, I know your heart's obviously an organ for circulating blood, but if you can think in that metaphorical sense of your feelings, right? I know I'm speaking to a doctor in training, so I don't want to stuff it up.
No, you were spot on.
Oh, thank you, mate. That's fantastic. So anyway, it's sharing someone's burdens. It's for me, the biggest thing is being free of judgment on that person. That's massive. I think, because I think that enables you to really consider how they're feeling, because life is hard. It's not easy. And because of that, we've learned to just kind of do our own thing, stay in your lane, focus on yourself. And those things are so important. But oftentimes that will cause a lack of empathy in one's lives, because we're so focused on our own thing. And we live our lives through our own lens, our one lens. So to break out of that may be a challenge, right? So I think empathy is a skill. I think it's something that can be learned. And in addition to it being learned, it can also be practiced often. And it can be improved upon too, just like any skill, playing an instrument, speaking a language, whatever. So I think it's something that we need to actively think about and try and do. And as I briefly mentioned, just on a personal level, I feel like freeing yourself of judgment on others is so important, because yes, you can disagree with someone. Yes, you can view something as wrong, but it was like Marcus Aurelius always said, and I am paraphrasing, it was that we're all listening to the same internal voice. We all have that conscious. And so most people, not everyone, but a lot of people are just doing what they think is the right thing to do. So it'd be almost wrong or unjust for you to judge someone for that. Doesn't mean you can't perceive things in a certain way or make assumptions, but at the end of the day, we are all humans, right? So we're all trying to do the right thing. It's the same species. So I know that kind of went a bit deep there, but that's just the first thing I think of is the free of judgment. And I'll throw it to you in a second, Isaac. But just to answer the second part of your question, which was how do I do it? It is exactly that. It is freeing myself from judgment and not being so quick to assume things, because I feel like we make so many assumptions in life. Some of them are necessary. You know, you're driving behind a car, they put their indicator on, so you assume they're going to turn that way. That's an assumption. A lot of things we can assume will happen, but something like assuming that person did the wrong thing or did wrong by you or others sometimes may not be necessary, and it may not be based on things that are necessarily true. So yeah, for me, practically not judging others so quickly allows me to be more empathetic. But what about you? Because I've been speaking for a while. How do you practice empathy in your own life?
Yeah, so it's amazing. Like, apart from thinking of the sort of Greek derivative of the word, I always think of this quote from To Kill a Mockingbird. I think common book most people study in high school, and it's, you never really understand a person until you consider things from their point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it. Now, I remember that quote like so vividly from studying the book, because it's that free of judgment, but also taking that path, trying to put yourself into those shoes. And it's a process that you constantly trying to do, right? Am I always empathetic when I should be? No, of course not. But I'm actively trying to get better at that. And I think putting myself into that other person's situation or what they've experienced is one way I try and do it. And for me, Jack, I think a really practical example is in the medical field, and when we're on placement, we observe different patients, and sometimes you have patients that, you know, have gone through like alcoholism, and alcohol has, you know, really detrimental effects on their health. And it's not about passing judgment of why they're drinking, right? Or you know, it has bad effects on their life, but it's like, let's consider what's got them to that. Why have they turned to alcoholism, perhaps? Like, why is that their outlet, right? And when you take that approach, then you realize that perhaps they've got trauma in their life or something's happened that's really deep-seated that you need to address, rather than going like, wow, like, can't believe, like, you know, you keep drinking when you know it's bad for your health, right? It's getting to that deeper level. So for my life, that's what it is. But even, yeah, what you say, Jack, like, even on the roads, like when someone's like in a rush and they quickly do a lane change, yeah, it's dangerous and it has consequences, but also thinking, wow, like, you know, I'm not going to try and, you know, put the finger up at them and whatever, like, you know, they could be going through so much that on that day and doing a lot could be racing through their mind. They could be having a really challenging day, and you don't need to be the person that perhaps tips them over to a point where, you know, things are a spiral. So yeah, they're two things that I think of when I discuss that. But what I would implore like people listening to do is imply those two things that we've said. Like Jack said, you know, try and be judgment free, and sort of also what I brought up is to take a walk, try and literally envision yourself in that person's situation. So those are two things. But Jack, what about, how does empathy make you feel when others are empathetic towards you? How's that made you feel? And maybe through others, you know, giving you empathy, we can kind of realize the positive effects it can have.
No, absolutely. I love how you flip the script from us being empathetic to others to on the receiving end. What is that like? And that's a great question, because I feel like, yeah, the more you can understand or have that feeling, that experience, the more likely you are to do that, because ultimately it's a great feeling. Really, it's a short answer, right? You know, it's really important. I feel like everyone deserves to feel loved. Everybody deserves to feel cared for, or at least thought of. And in a relationship, everyone deserves to be desired as well and heard. So yeah, if you can simply do those things, just those were the first off the top of my head, but any of those feelings, if you can put those onto others, that would be amazing. So yeah, those are the things that I feel when people are empathetic towards me. And for me, because as I said, it's a skill and it's something you actually have to physically do, it's a nice reminder to see who are those people in your life who actually have that skill. And more importantly, which people in your life are going to actively give you empathy, because it's something they have to do. It's not just, it doesn't just happen. That requires some effort, right? So the people who will actually be empathetic towards you and will actually help you in whatever situation you may be in. Those people are so important. You need to hold on to those people because good people are rare, as we know. So yes, I think it's a great indicator for who are the people that really care, because everyone can just say, oh, that sucks, or hope you're okay. But really the people that truly care will genuinely put themselves in your shoes and give you almost like a personalized experience that will help you, because they're coming from a place of empathy where they're putting themselves in your shoes. So, but what about you? Same question. When someone's empathetic towards you, how do you feel? And does that actually remind you to be empathetic towards others as well?
Yeah. And I think when things are going well in life, when you're on that high, it's very easy to share your friends' feeling with that, right? Jack, you just got a new job. Like, let's celebrate. We go on that high together. But for someone to come down to the low, it's difficult, right? Sometimes, you don't want to go, you don't want to have to go to that level, or perhaps you don't want to sort of share that feeling, right? You want to sort of go to yourself and be like, I'm sorry to hear that, but like things will get better. You want to kind of brush it off. But what I've always appreciated is people taking on the burden a little bit with me, not like, literally taking on the burden in terms of, oh, Isaac's going through this problem, I have to directly help him, but more so like, Isaac, let's talk it out. Let just 5 minutes. Let's go into it. And I think the time given to show that empathy is always meant more to me than perhaps someone just trying to solve the problem itself. It's just allowing me to sort of talk to them, vent it out. And yeah, I can definitely think of so many scenarios, but a key one for me is I often find that when things get really busy and then an external challenge comes in, I need to get better at perhaps regulating how I feel, right? And a big part of what I do is I call people, I try and reach out, and like for yourself, when I call you or Jimmy or someone or Yorgs, people in our network, they always give me the time of day to talk through things. And I think that always makes me realize no matter how busy I am, flat out I am, I have to then give time to other people to explore what they're going through. Not to take on their problem, but to at least explore it with them. So that's something definitely I've learned. And
that's excellent. And I like how you say you have to give them that time, because oftentimes we're so caught up in our issues that we actually forget to allow that to happen. Because, sometimes if you're lucky, people will pick up on signs and actually give you that help you may need in the moment. But oftentimes you need to allow yourself to accept that. I feel like one of the main issues we have, especially if we're talking in this self-help kind of community, it's like everyone tries to fix things themselves because we're on this grind, or we're in this path, or however you want to describe it, when it's like you need to kind of let your walls down a bit and allow yourself to be helped and allow yourself to be vulnerable a bit, because only then people can, generally speaking, step into your world and actually share your feeling. And I love the way you said that, yeah, people kind of take that on and go down that low with you and just let you vent, let you talk. Because we know, and this is a topic for another day, but just letting things off your chest and just speaking out loud or to someone else is a massive help when we're caught in our own heads. But I mean, that's just like 1% of it, because what I just mentioned is a whole nother thing. But yeah, just as a grain of salt, like, yeah, we need to let others listen to us and give them that time to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. But I think that was a great discussion, empathy. Man, I really enjoyed it. It was a bit more serious today, but I think it was definitely needed.
Yeah, definitely. I think the way things going around in the world at the moment, and as I said, like people starting uni and people sort of really getting into the depths of work and school and things like that at the moment. Yeah, I think it's an important point. When things get busy, you've got to find that place in your heart to show empathy.
That's excellent, man. All right, I want the wrap up of our 2 things for the week, and then the topic, and then we'll close it off, man. This is the best part right here.
This is the summary. So let's go through. We discussed my thing of the week, which was skincare routine and finding something that works for you and that's consistent, but also based in evidence as well. Then Jack was his thing of the week, which was trialing slightly colder showers, taking something he does regularly and just changing it slightly and seeing the effects. And Jack said that it's something that's made him feel more alert and also better. And then our topic of the week, which is empathy. And we talked about not passing judgment and taking a walk in someone else's shoes. Those 2 things that, if applied daily, can really help us connect with people, but also allows us to receive empathy back, perhaps. When we show empathy, the universe has an amazing way of it coming back to us. And it's something positive when you feel it, so that you want to, pass it on to others. How did I go with the summary, Jack?
Oh, mate, that was the best one. I was so engrossed. If anyone's seen the video, I was just in full focus mode. That was your best one. Yeah, I loved it. So yeah, thank you everybody for listening. Keep the suggestions coming so we can do some more topics that you guys would like to hear about, like the one today. So thank you all for listening, and we'll do another episode next week.
Yes, thank you all.